catch Resma in the midst of a bite there. So now you can take that problem away. I'm doing this intermittent fasting, as you know, and I don't get to bite into something until later today. So it's not a problem for me.
I'm proud of you, B-Dubs. I saw you in town, a week and a half ago, and the discipline it takes to go and take care of your body the way you're taken care of. I got to say, I'm not quite there yet.
You don't.
I had a smoked Gouda and bacon grilled cheese sandwich for lunch today.
That sounds amazing.
Does that fit in your fasting?
It does not. It could fit into my heavier carb night on the carb cycling, but we'll get there eventually. Down 10 pounds. I got to keep the scale moving.
That's awesome. That is awesome. Guys, we've got so much good content today. Can't wait. On the national call, we're going to have the man, the myth, the legend himself, Jordan Shank, and key members of his team that are going to be joining us, guys. Always a blessing to spend time around Jordan. Such a positive individual and means so many to so many individuals across this company. But before we get to that, B-Dubs, I got to say, I am, I'll show my cards here a little bit. One of my most favorite individuals that I get to talk to from time to time, one of the fastest growing agencies in the history of Symmetry, somebody that absolutely understands what it means to make an impact in both professional and personal circles, somebody that brings systems and processes to the way that she designs her organization and make sure that everything in her entire world that connects with her feels the opportunity to see light and see opportunity and see somebody that's willing to go down the path and absolutely do the things that she's recommending others do. So so excited today to have Miss Sara Reineke hosting the Builders Call today. And we're going to get to meet Jamie, who I got to meet via text message last night, who was not afraid to jump in, who instantly became close to my heart as somebody that I could see why I fit so well in this organization. So B-Dubs, I know you and I talk a lot behind the scenes. We field a lot of questions out there, guys. Sara Reineke and her organization, since coming on the scene, have continued to shatter records. We continue to get requests all the time to find out just what magic sauce is going on within that organization. And I know I'm fired up for today. What about you, B-Dubs?
100%. Yeah. I mean, had amazing time with Sara and Jared in Costa Rica, chatting it up a bit. And I love everything that Sara brings and who she is as a leader worth following. And I love that they have answers too, right? Like Sara's gets it from an education background, right? It's not just accidental what she's doing in leading, it's intentional. And most leadership, like most parenting, unfortunately is accidental, not intentional. So we get the good opportunity today to hear from an intentional leader who understands why it's working as well. And I mean, her stats show that up and down. We're working on some dashboards behind the scenes right now where it is very common to see Sara's name and Jamie's name up there in the stats and their downline too. Like they're replicating something very powerful. So bring it on. We're really excited. And Jamie, great to see you and excited to hear from you as well.
Yeah.
Wow.
Sara, we're going to kick it over to you. I think you're going to start with a video.
I am. And all those nice things you just said about me, I think I'm going to knock all those down whenever I am sharing today. Some leadership struggles and some overcoming and 90-day blitz. And I'm just going to be really real because I love Todd, you and Brian, all the things that you said, but this business is not easy, right? Or everyone would do it. And this has not been easy for me either. But man, I have some amazing people around me that just made this so much more fun. And I'm just so proud of them. So yeah, I want to share a quick video with you. And some of you may have seen this before.
You've learned a lot about leadership and making a movement. Then let's watch a movement happen, start to finish in under 3 minutes and dissect some lessons. First, of course, a leader needs the guts to stand alone and look ridiculous. But what he's doing is so simple, it's almost instructional. This is key. You must be easy to follow. role, he publicly shows everyone else how to follow. Notice how the leader embraces him as an equal. So it's not about the leader anymore. It's about them, plural. Notice how he's calling to his friends to join in. So it takes guts to be a first follower. You stand out and you brave ridicule yourself. Being a first follower is an underappreciated form of leadership. The first follower transforms a lone nut into a leader. If the leader is the flint, the first follower is the spark that really makes the fire. Now here's the second follower. This is a turning point. It's proof the first has done well. Now it's not a lone nut and it's not two nuts. 3 is a crowd and a crowd is news. A movement must be public. Make sure outsiders see more than just the leader. Everyone needs to see the followers because new followers emulate followers, not the leader. Now here come 2 more people, then 3 more immediately. Now we've got momentum. This is the tipping point, and now we have a movement. As more people jump in, it's no longer risky. If they were on the fence before, there's no reason not to join in now. They won't stand out, they won't be ridiculed, and they will be part of the in crowd if they hurry. And over the next minute, you'll see the rest who prefer to stay part of the crowd, because eventually they'd be ridiculed for not joining. And ladies and gentlemen, that is how a movement is made. So let's recap what we've learned. If you are a version of the shirtless dancing guy, all alone, remember the importance of nurturing your first few followers as equals, making everything clearly about the movement, not you. Be public, be easy to follow. But the biggest lesson here, did you catch it? Leadership is overglorified. Yes, it started with the shirtless guy, and he'll get all the credit, but you saw what really happened. It was the first follower that transformed a lone nut into a leader. There's no movement without the first follower. See, we're told that we all need to be leaders, but that would be really ineffective. The best way to make a movement, if you really care, is to courageously follow and show others how to follow. When you find a lone nut doing something great, have the guts to be the first person to stand up and join in.
I love that video so much, and I've seen it a million times, and maybe you guys have too. It just, whenever I was thinking about this call today, and by the way, I'm the lone nut, the shirtless guy out there in the story, and Jamie is that Jamie Cuppernell. I have a thing for Jamie's. Let's just be honest about this, but she was one of those first followers that came out and danced with me, and I'm going to kind of just go over what that story looked like. Listen, I knew I had to keep it simple and easy, like it talked about in that video, right? The dance he was doing was pretty simple and easy, and for us, that's 4 cornerstones and the 4 keys to a successful week. And I embraced those first followers, which was Lisa Abosini and Jamie Cuppernell and Dave Sminky and Addison Burr and some of these people that jumped in, Rob Myers that jumped in with me. And I embraced all of them as equals, right? So you kind of forget who's the leader over here, because it all gets mixed up, just like in that big group. And then, but that big group of people became a movement, and I'm just so proud of them. But it was that first follower, and that's Jamie. She decided to be a leader here in the Reineke base shop, which is what we're kind of focusing on here a little bit today. So I'm going to tell you a little bit of a story. Okay, so Jamie, Susie, and I came here June of 2020, and it was Jamie and Sara show, right? Like we dove in together, and we produced together, we learned together, and it was a ton of fun. And most of the time, Susie was around 60% of our business, which was cool. Sometimes I beat her. She beat me most of the time in the weeks, but it was close. And we just kind of played this. I mean, I think we were around, I think I put in 77,000 the first 6 months, and she put in 75. I mean, it was very neck and neck for a while. So, and then in February of 2022, I saw a trend that I didn't necessarily like, because, the Jamie Sara show was fun, but it changed a little bit in February. So, and Danny Young actually tried to tell me this June of the year before, like, I see a trend, I see your numbers, and I'm like, we're having fun. Jamie and I are having a great time. It is going to be fine, all fine. He's like, I think you might want to check out your numbers. There's a bit of a trend to look at, and numbers don't lie. Jamie, Susie was not seeing that same trend. It was growing in a different direction for her. And so here's where we were. I mean, I could have just sat and pout about it, or I could get busy, right? So in January of 2022, I submitted 71K and I issued 54. Okay, not bad. We had 20 riders. The Jamie and Sara show was fun. Earned a trip to Cabo. I spent the rest of the month of January preparing for Cabo, I think. Jamie Susie, she recruited, I think, close to 30 people in the month of January while I was preparing for Cabo, enjoying the Jamie and Sara fun show, right? And so then in Cabo was fun. It was great. And while I was there, Jamie hit 110, which means she caught me at 110. And I'm like, oh no. I mean, I'm happy for her, but then I'm like, wait a second, you know, my trend was going down because in February, we only submitted 49K and we issued 35. So we went from 71 to 54 issued to 49,000 submit, 35 issued in February. And also that month, my very good friend, who was a 25K producer, left me and went to a different company. So I lost a good friend. I mean, she's still my friend. She just went to a different company, but she was a big producer. Jamie recruited 30 in January, and 3 of which became 3 alone were 100K in her business right now. So the division happened real quick. So she caught me at 110. I had to sign over papers over to Jacob Pogue because that's what happens whenever you recruit someone amazing and they catch you on the commission scale, which is amazing. And so I found myself in a situation, if you're looking at that video, where the Susie Base Shop created their own concert venue. They're over here. They have their own concert venue. They've got their own stars of this. They've got people coming. Garth Brooks is coming in. I don't know, all the people. And then I look at my base shop and I'm like, oh no, like the trend is not great. It's not great. I mean, if we're going to be honest with ourselves, I didn't love it. And the culture was still good. Everybody still liked each other. But the profitability wasn't good. And honestly, what we talk in our agency all the time about 2 things, which is culture and profitability. They both have to be there. You guys know of a lot of people. I just met 2 people in Tulsa at Marlon's boot camp last week, a lawyer and a pharmacist, the shoes, that were making a ton of money, but there was no culture. So they left, right? So, and you can love your job, but if you're not making enough money, you will leave. So we firmly believe you got to have both. Well, at this time, culture was higher, profitability was lower. And when I see 35,000 in issued business with 20 riders, what that says to me is everyone's going out of business. Everyone's going out of business in the Reineke Base Shop, including Sara Reineke. I'm seeing like those fluorescent yellow, like buffet for $3.99, it's a bad sign when you start seeing stuff like that. Right. So profitability was bad. And so I had to make a change. And to be honest, I was like, am I relevant? Am I a leader worth following? Was this a fluke? Do I matter? Am I a leader? Am I capable? Can I rebuild? Like February was a really, really tough month for me. But here was my choices in February. So here's all of them. If you want to write these down, I could blame my team and shame them. I could have been like, this is all your fault. I could have gone to my base shop and been like, well, I hope you're happy with yourselves. You've really done it. I chose not to do that. Okay. Option 2, I could just lay down and pout about my feelings and just cry about it. I could quit. Honestly, I mean, Jacob, he says his job description during February, March was like grabbing me by the scruff of the neck and not letting me jump off the ledge of like, I can't do it anymore. He's like, yes, you can. You're going to be fine. I was like, I don't feel like I'm fine. So I thought about quitting, but I was like, that's crazy. I'm not going down as, oh, did you know the girl that recruited Jamie Susie quit? Like everybody has that story. Like that wasn't going to be my story. Okay, fine. I could blame my mentor. Like a solid plan. Like it's probably Jacob Pogue's fault. That this is happening. I'm just going to blame. Okay. So that's not a great idea. Or I could pull myself up by my bootstraps. And as Ashley Tarhara says, the hard part is making the waves. The fun part is riding it. And she gave me that wise advice during this time of my life. I had to tell my team that I'm going in first in this 90-day blitz. I knew I needed really strong head down work. I had to put my oxygen mask on first. I had to make myself and my personal business profitable and quit hanging out at Cabo like I'd made it because I obviously had not. And God was like, oh, no, you have some more lessons to learn. So I had to get out there and dance, right? I'm in a situation where Jacob Pogue, he danced a long time ago. He has earned himself, and thank God he built one more base shop because I was part of it. He's in a different place, right? And so I had to make a choice to get out there and dance again, uncomfortably by myself, because Susie has her own whole venue, right? So I'm over here in my base shop rebuilding. So I asked Jacob, I was like, what is this 90-day blitz stuff? Should I do it? He's like, yeah, you should do it and talk about it on the POG call Friday. He puts me on the POG call to talk about it. I didn't even know what it was, but I learned. And then 3 days later, he put me on the national call to talk about it. If you remember, I talked about feeding your kids hamburger helper. So that's what I did, which I actually do like hamburger helper. I didn't mean any disrespect to the hamburger helper, but it was about some sacrifices, right? So I knew I wasn't 100% sure what I would get on the other side of the 90-day blitz, but I knew I had to do something, but I wasn't just going to take those other options. I knew I had to make myself profitable. I couldn't help other people win here unless I was winning myself. Like I just knew that were to be true. And there's a whole lot of examples of people who had done it and had some killer results. So I'm like, well, what do I have to lose at this time, right? So I jumped in, and this is what some of the 90 days looked like. Just so you know, I knew it wasn't sustainable forever. A sprint never is, right? But I can do hard things for 90 days. And ironically enough, right after that national call where I talked about hamburger helper, 3 days later, my best friend from high school was like, hey, do you want to go to the beach with me and my daughter who's precious for her senior trip? It's all paid for. It's free. All you have to do is just come spend a week with me and my beautiful daughter on the beach for a week. And I was like, I just told the entire Symmetry Nation that I am doing a 90-day blitz and I have to do hard things. And I had to say no to that. I was like, it's awesome, right? So I paused a lot of things. I got off committees that I was on. I wanted to do those fun committee things. And I'm like, I'm just not at my place in my business that I can do that. I stopped sleeping in. I got better on my schedule of working out, better on my schedule of reading, cut out some cocktails. I simplified dinners. My mom brought dinner on Mondays for me, and my cousin brought dinner on Wednesdays for me. We ate leftovers in between. When my kids come in and see mom is cooking on a Sunday, they're like, oh God, like it's a real treat now when I'm cooking, but I'm like, they're totally fine. They've survived this, I promise. I knew I had to overcome a 45-day diminishing belief when it would get hard. Which I did, and I'll tell you a little bit more about that. And I committed to intentional time blocking. I committed to 35, 40 interviews a week, to personal production, which if you know me, I'm not going down as top producer. So that's hard for me to go back into production. It never came easy for me, still doesn't. I produced enough. But I needed to also dance, like in the video talked about, in a way that's duplicatable. I was like, whatever I do for these 90 days, it's got to be duplicatable so people like Jamie Carpenter can come in and feel like I can do that too, right? I can't do a dance so complicated that nobody feels like they can do the same thing. I knew if I was going to build this ship, it had to be in a way. So as annoying and aggravating, when Todd and Brian are talking about, like, people want to know how we do it. Jamie, Susie, and I have never created anything. We haven't. We use the 4 keys. We use the 4 cornerstones, the core values, the promotional guidelines, and that's it. That is the documents that our team has those memorized. They hear them all the time. That is all we coach from. But we had culture, thank goodness. So I'm telling you, like, as a leader, this is why culture is just as important as profitability, because we had culture, we had relationships. So therefore this time, whenever people like Jamie jumped in to dance with me in that base shop, happened, because if it wasn't for that culture and those relationships, it would have all fallen apart. I mean, I truly believe that. So, and I also just know that the founders list, the relationships matter, people come first, and the core values first for a reason. I may be making that up, but I think that it was on purpose. I think it's the most important thing. And it seems like something like, oh, is it that important? Yes. Because if I didn't have those relationships with people, they wouldn't have danced with me. Lisa, Addison, Theron, Dave, they all jumped in with me. They were some first followers. And, Jamie Carpenter was just one that decided to lead here. And I don't even know that she knew she was deciding to lead here, but she did. And I'm so excited to introduce you to my friend, Jamie Carpenter. She got a hold of me, a year and a half ago, something like that. And she said, we actually went to the same high school. She was in the same company I was in, but she wasn't on my team. And she said, I know what you did there. You're not going without me this time. I'm hitching my wagon. We're going together. So she has been so fun, and your life is just better if you've got Jamie Carpenter in it. She brings a smile to everyone's face, and everyone loves her, and you're about to see why. And I'm so, so grateful that she decided to be that first follower that came out and danced with me on that hill, because the results speak for themselves. And what made you, Jamie Carpenter, jump out and dance with me?
Well, first, when I see the video and I just envision it being you grabbing my hands, like, you have to do it this way. I was a part of that. When I came here, Jamie and Sara you guys hadn't hit agency owner yet. But the culture was so great. It was fun and everyone was so nice. I mean, I don't know how many times we can say that. So I was a part of that. I felt it. When I think we all realized, and to be honest, when we issued 35,000, I got a call from Lisa and she said, Sarah's going to call you. You're just going to say you're sorry. And I was panicked. I was like, oh no, and so it was just the realization that the Reineke base was behind, and you were out there all alone. I was one of them. I was just sitting there watching the dance, thinking it was, oh, she's so cute. And yeah, I decided we needed more momentum. It wasn't just going to be you out there dancing alone.
I love you so much for that. What commitment did it take for you? Because you were fun and you were a good time, and Jamie's quote has always been, you say culture and profitability, but I'm kind of good with just the culture. She would say this all the time. So what'd you have to give up mentally to walk out there and do that?
Well, mentally, I knew once I walked out, I was out. I wasn't coming back in. And I didn't want to come back in, but I was terrified. I was terrified I was going to get out there and not be enough. So it was just going to be a new chapter. It was new responsibility. I knew more people were going to be asking me questions that I probably didn't know, but I would definitely do my best to help. So it was new of everything, but I knew it was going to be a new chapter and worth it. I watched you and Jamie and it seemed worth it. And I was like, you know what, it's my turn.
Yeah. I mean, because Jamie and we were strong together. And then whenever she's working on her own base shop and her own agency over there, you're like, oh no, she needs someone to come in here with her, because it was easy to be a spectator when it was Jamie, Susie, and Sara, right? So you're like, oh no longer can I be a spectator at the show. I'm going to have to go out there and dance. And I watched Jamie Cuppernell say things like, we are getting that dial room back up and going. That was important to me. And so she got the dial room back up and going. And in our crew feed, she would be answering questions. She's posting things right now. She's got the entire agency doing Squattober. This is why I'm so sore right now. We're all doing 100 squats a day. So if any of you want to join in with her, she'll be happy to know we all have sore legs in this entire company. But what were some of the strategies you had whenever you got these? Were you purposefully I got to do these things, or what was behind the idea of getting the dial room going and being present and answering questions on crew?
I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know I was going to lead anyone. I just knew when I came in why I stayed. And yes, profitability is probably good. Realize now it is, but I was here for the culture. And as new agents came in, our dial rooms got less important. The huddles kind of, we didn't have as many, and not that you need to have that many, but when you're here for the people and you've been in a bad culture, that's important. And for it just felt like it was all going away. It was all diminishing. We didn't have live dialers anymore. And we just needed to get those back. That was such a part of why I came, why I stayed, and such a big learning aspect of it. So we just needed it all back. We needed the chatter, the fun, the bickering back and forth. Where was it? It was gone. It was gone. Everything we needed it. Yeah. We needed each other.
And someone as fun as Jamie Cuppernell's never going to stay if the culture isn't positive and fun here. She doesn't have to have this business. She was not broken when she got here. So that's really important. And she's not alone, right? So, some other people that jumped in with you, who were some of the dancers that I see in the video, you're giving people in to dance with you. Who are some of the other ones that jumped in with you?
Well, I think when it really got started, Addison Burr, and she was kind of newer. She started producing. We just started, throwing in our apps. We were kind of in a competition of who could get the most in by Friday by the code call. Lisa and Leslie, we started the live dial back, and it was usually us, which, by the way, I would not be where I was today without those two at all. And then Ellen Val decided to, she volunteers to live dial. She didn't have to do that. I definitely never live dialed when I was as new as her, would not have asked for feedback. And then you have the people, Jake Dar shows up, and you see his name and it's fine. And then all of a sudden I blink and he's past me. And then you have Trey Turner come in, who since conference basically, and probably maybe a little bit after that, just, Trade 2.0. You have Cassie Fort, Dina Montero, Cassandra, I'm going to miss so many people, Kelly Mack, Caitlin McKay, Melanie Zimba, just all these people that we had before, Victor, Melanie, Logan, Logan left, came back huge. So and Shelly Cravitt, when you have those people and we all kind of split up and are going our own way, I was lost. And I needed those people back in my life. I needed everyone in those rooms. So.
And what's ironic about all the names she just listed, none of those, there's 3 or 4 that were direct to her. The rest of those some are on Susie's side, some are on my side, some are under different people. You can't tell who's under who, which is so great in our culture. And Jamie Cuppernell loves all those people and got those all back together without me saying, hey, can you get these people together? I never said, Jamie Cuppernell, can you get the dial room back going? She saw the need, but we have a culture where it's safe, where she knows she can say it's Squattober without asking me if that's okay, because we have a trust and relationship back and forth that she can do something like that. And it's so fun. This is in our agency, it doesn't revolve around one person. It just doesn't, right, Jamie? Like everybody has a place there. Everybody has a voice there. And I loved it because she did this and we were at conference, there were people that came up to you and were like, are you Jamie Cuppernell? And she's like, whoa, how in the world do you know my name? Do you know who I am? And she kind of froze, but then she's like, this is kind of awesome. Talk about that just a minute.
Well, the first one I'm going to talk about is kind of funny. Well, the only one, mainly Tom Lotz was down at the elevator. I had just come down. You had to come down to go back up. And Tom Lotz was standing there and I fully was walking up to him. I don't think I'd ever really shook his hand. I think maybe there might've been a quick greeting in Knoxville. So I was like, I'm going to go and introduce myself to Tom Lotz. And I hadn't even finished walking up to him and he said, I think he even said Jamie Cuppernell. I don't even remember at this point, but I was so taken back because I felt there wasn't a reason for him to know my name. It was kind of shocking. I felt like I hadn't done enough. And then when he knew it, it just kind of, changed things. And then I met, like Kelsey Seals and started talking to, I don't know, just tons of people. And it was just shocking for them to know my name.
So fun. It was fun for me to watch that leadership development just come into play. And I know we're running low on time, but I will say, spoiler alert, this is Jamie Cuppernell's, because she jumped in as first follower. Her numbers have grown 300%. She was at 7K in March and now she's 26, 28K, which is awesome. Our base shop, I will just say 35, I'll just say issued business in the base shop. Our 90-day blitz was March, April, May. And in May, we issued 35,000. In June, 76,000. July, 95,000. August, 105,000. And September looks like 125,000, which could be month 1 of 120. A snapshot would come out maybe today, we would know for sure. But either way, that growth has also been 300% in our base shop. And that is largely due to the fact that they let me go in and get profitable. I had first followers that jumped in after me to make this thing happen. And guys, it is due to so many amazing people that jumped in to create this momentum, but I am just so blessed to be led by the best, Jacob Pogue, who I am direct to and so grateful to be so. He's given me every example of what to do in this business. And I have the best master agency in the entire world. I mean, it's just growing leaps and bounds. A base shop full of warriors and champions that jumped in with me when they saw I was kind of drowning out there, by myself, and they jumped in and they just worked with me, and it just brings tears to my eyes of just how proud I am of them and to see how it's affecting their lives. Jamie Cuppernell's husband, they're reading together. She's leaving post-it notes for her kids of positivity on their lockers and in their rooms. Her kids used to say things like, Dad bought those shoes, Mom, not you. And now they're like, I'm proud of you, Mom. They're seeing the promotions that she's getting. They're seeing that she has a business that she was capable of doing. And so the profitability is one thing, but really seeing just the pride of what these people are doing. And guys, whether you're in a situation of being the lone nut, like I was, like, just get out and dance. There's too many leaders who are like, 90-day blitz time, I'll be in the recliner. You guys let me know how it goes. Like, you might be in a situation where you got to go make yourself profitable and go do it again. And October, November, December is a really good time to do it. Or maybe you're the first follower like Jamie, that's like, I see my leader out there needs my help, and it's going to benefit me and him or her and this whole agency if I jump in and dance with them. just step up and be that Jamie Cuppernell and be that fun dancer and just do it ugly and figure these things out as you go. Just create a movement. It's more fun. Whenever that movement is happening, everybody wants to be a part of a movement. And I'm just so, so proud of the leadership that's forming in this space shop. So thank you guys so much for having us.
Man,
Boom.
I've officially teared up and cried, and I've officially stood up and cheered on this call. So consider me a lone nut. I'm all in. Jamie, absolutely amazing, buddy. You're a phenomenal individual. I know just how much Sara and your entire organization thinks of you. It's so good to hear your voice and hear you speak to your story, and just know that the impact you're making is got a greater reach than you could even fathom at this point. And man, the sky's the limit. You're awesome, buddy. Great job.
Yeah, Sara, thanks for modeling healthy pioneering leadership as well. I think you're a strong pioneer connector leader, and you model that so well, the balance between support and challenge and how to bring that in a positive, life-giving way. And so thank you so much for your example of that.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Love it. Thank you, guys. There's it's another week. There's a lot to celebrate, Spivey. Our largest 3 weeks as a company have come in the last 3 weeks, which is really cool. And they've stair-stepped. So congratulations to everybody out there. We had another record week by, I think it was $150,000, $200,000, something like that. So, I mean, it's not like you guys are just breaking records a little.
We're not just eking it out barely over the line. We're just smashing
them. And so I would question myself this way. Everyone seems to be having record weeks or record months. If I'm not, what are the things that I need to change, and how do I change those things? And what are the things that I should work on, and how do I become better at those things? And generally the correct answer is or the beauty of once you determine the answer is like there is a path to getting better at pretty much everything in this business, because there are great people to point to in the organization that are having success in those areas. If it's recruiting, if it's relationship management, which is one of the biggest that we would say. If you are building an organization, you have to recruit, you have to manage leads, you have to do all the things correctly, but you also have to be you have to be really good at relationship management. And there's simple books that you can read, simple things that you can do to get better at that. But, we always have a saying that we use here, both internally and for the agents, Casey, that rule number one is, you have a servant's heart, servant's attitude, servant's mind, so that you're treating people downline to you just as great as you're treating those upline to you. Are you doing that? Would your people say that you're for them or for yourself? All those things you can get better at. So with that, man, there's so many good things to celebrate. Congratulations to everybody out there that broke records. I've gotten tons of texts. Let us know in the chat right now if you broke a record. What did you break a record in? And for those of you that are in Florida and potentially were in the path of the hurricane last week, if there's anything that we can do for you, please let us know. If you need to pause leads, if you need to do some things, like just let us know. We're here to hopefully make things a little bit better for you and not add to any stress that you may be going through. So please reach out to us and let us know if there's anything that you need. And hopefully everybody's okay. Properties are okay. All those things, because it looked devastating. So